last night we got a new announcement about a new tribe coming into the game. And the last time we got such announcements, it was for Quillboars, and I'm pretty sure it was more than a year ago. So I'm super excited to see all of these new cards and show them to you guys as well. And I hope you guys are excited too. So let's get into them. So these are the cards that got shown from Blizzard in the first announce. So we have Mini Myrmidon, which is a 1-drop. It's a Naga. All of these are Nagas, as you can see with the tribe. And it says, Spellcraft, give a minion +2 attack until your next turn. So you might wonder, what is Spellcraft? Well, this is a new keyword that's basically adds a spell to your hand that resolves the effects. When you get the spell, you get it when you play the minion, kind of like a battle cry, but then you also get it again at the start of each turn. So it's recurring value. Although there is a caveat, the spell is gonna disappear at the end of your turn, so you need to use them every turn. And also, if your hand is full, you are not gonna get the spell. It's gonna stay old until you free an empty spot in your hand, and then you will get the spell. So you can never lose them, which is really nice. So this Myrmidon, it's pretty good. It's like a 1-drop that's a 3/3. These are like tier 2 stats. So very good tempo, and it also has pretty good synergies. Like it synergizes really well with Chroma Wing. You can grow your Chroma Wing pretty easily, and also like in the late game, you can use it kind of like a tech card to play around. Like for example, if you want to play around Zap with your Baron, you can just give it +2 attack for the fight. So interesting card, pretty good. Now we have a 2-drop, the Snail Cavalry. Once per turn, after you cast a spell, gain +2 health, and it has 5 attack, which is a lot for a 2-drop, and 2 health. So this minion reminds me of Tough Tusk, but it's a bit weaker since it doesn't have Divine Shield. So I think it's just gonna be strong in the early game if you have the synergies, but then it's never gonna make it to your final board. And now we have Showa Commander, Spellcraft again, give a minion +1/+1 for each friendly Naga until your next turn. And it is a 2/2 by itself. So this effect seems a bit weak, so it's kind of like a 2/2 that gives +1/+1. That makes it a total of 3/3 worth of stats, which is not that much. But if you have more Nagas, it's obviously more stats, and you might proc some spell synergies. That being said, the card doesn't seem that good. Just okay. And now Southscale Siren, another 3-drop, 5/4. At this end of your turn, your Spellcraft minion casts their spells on themselves. So you kind of get double the value. Once again, really good tempo card early on if you have the Spellcraft synergies, but it doesn't feel like a card that's gonna make it to the end game. And now Tide Mistress as Atisha. So it's a 6-drop, 7/8. After you cast a spell, give 4 friendly Naga +1/+1. So instead of buffing your whole board, you can only buff 4 Nagas. So this card is similar to Agem, but it has a cap, which makes me think that it's gonna be stronger than Agem. It's also a 6-drop. So yeah, cool card to scale the Nagas. We'll see like if we get some good Naga that you actually want to scale. It also scales itself, obviously. And with this, we also got the reveal of a new hero. And here it is. It's Queen Ashara, or Azara, I don't know. So I know you are seeing 2 heroes, but it's actually only one. It works kind of like Haran. So at first you are the good version, I guess, which has a passive. Whenever your warband reaches 30 total attack, begin your Naga Conquer. What is the Naga Conquer? Where basically you change your portrait into the more evil version, and you change your hero power into Naga Conquest, which for 1 gold is gonna discover you a Naga. So this hero power is really powerful. It's obviously meant to push you into playing a Naga comp. As if right now we haven't seen that many synergies, so we don't know how strong this is gonna be. And also we don't know how fast you're gonna be able to activate it. I assume it's gonna take you, unless if you have a Chromal Wing, it's gonna take you until like turn 7 or 8 to get this switch on the hero power. So it's just seems just as low as Ragnaros. Although unlike Ragnaros, you have control over it. Like if you also get a Shaker, you can proc it pretty easily. So yeah, the hero power itself is extremely powerful. Being able to discover a Naga for 1 gold, it's insane. But we'll see if the Nagas have enough synergies within themselves. And now we go to the card reveal section. And by the way, I'm gonna link down in the description all the card reveal videos so you can watch them if you haven't already. So first card reveal is the Crip one. So he showed this new card and he also revealed the fact that buddies are going away from the game. So May 10, when this new patch will drop, all the buddies will be gone for now. So here it is, a 5-star glow scale, 4/6, taunt spellcraft, give a minion divine shield until your next turn. And here you can see the spell, so you get an idea of what it is. So this card is pretty cool. Like, if you think about casting the spell on itself, it's kind of like a 4/6 taunt divine shield, which is like a big module. Pretty decent tempo card in the early game, even though it is a 5-drop. But it also has a lot more implications, because you can give the divine shield to whatever you want. So you can divine shield like a key minion, like a Baron, so it can't get sniped, or you can divine shield your best minion, so it can trade more favorably. So it's a cool card. Also, like in the late game, you can hoard a bunch of these for the final fight and then give your whole board divine shield. So there are a lot of synergies with it. It seems like a solid card, and it definitely feels like one of the better Nagas to scale for what we've seen so far. So I think this card is going to be good. It's going to see play for sure. It's going to be impactful. Now, moving on, we have the Collins Fat Shady Bunny card reveal. So they got to reveal these Nagas. Deep Sea Angler, tier 2, 2/2. Spellcraft, give a minion +3 health and taunt until your next turn. So again, if you look at it in a vacuum, it's like a 2/3 taunt on tier 2, which is not that great, but you can give the +3 stats to a minion that has a higher attack, and then you get better value. Also, this card is really cool in the late game, because, for example, in a 1v1 situation, when you have to grind a lot of fights, you can give taunt to a minion and then debate your opponent for the next fight into thinking that it's still gonna have taunt, but then it's gonna get removed. That might change a lot of dynamics. So it's a cool card. I think it's gonna be interesting, especially for tournament plays. And then we have Eventide Brute. It's a 4-drop. I think this is the first 4-drops that we see from the Nagas. After you cast a spell, gain +1/+1, and it's a 5/4 already, and it doesn't have taunt, unlike most cards like this that can grow on lower tavern tiers. So this card seems very powerful, especially if combined in some kind of Quilboar Menagerie, so you get a lot of gems, or if you are playing a hero that can add spells to your hand, like Mukla and Barov. So yeah, this card is gonna be strong for sure. Might even get nerfed if it's too big. We'll see. It's just gonna be a big boy. Now we have the second part of the Shady and Collins card reveal, which these are not Nagas. I mean, I guess technically the Amalgam is also a Naga. But yeah, basically we got another big news. Amalgadon is going out of the game. It got gut. No more Amalgadon. But instead we get the Nightmare Amalgam back. which simply has all tribes. It doesn't adapt, but you can still fix it with module and SI Sephin. And also, this card used to be in the game when the game first came out, but it was a 2-drop. Now it's reintroduced as a 3-drop, which makes a huge difference. But I think the card is still going to be pretty strong, and it's going to see play in a lot of comps. It's going to be cool to see how this shakes up. I don't think it's going to be auto-include, but if you can get this card early on, I think you're going to have a pretty big advantage. And then we have Manted Queen, which is a new 6-drop, and it's a neutral, so it's going to be in every single lobby. Poisonous. So more poison into the game, which is kind of needed since they removed Maexna and also Amalgadon. And then it has an ability. Start of combat, for each of your minion types, gain +5/+5, Wind Fury, Divine Shield, or Taunt. Well, what does this remind you of? Well, Amalgadon. So basically this card is like a big spore, and then even if you only have one tribe on the board, like let's say you're playing demons or pure Quillbors, you still have a 25% chance to adapt Divine Shield, which is kind of toxic if you ask me. That like 1 time out of 4 you're gonna get a premium poison on your board. But then if you are playing a Menagerie comp and you have 4 or 5 tribes, you should almost always have Divine Shield. So it's kind of cool that they are buffing Menagerie, because without Amalgadon, Menagerie is going to suffer a lot. Even though there is a new Amalgam, so who knows. But yeah, this card is cool. If you triple into it, it's going to be pretty big if you have some tribes. Like, it's probably going to be a Taunt, Divine Shield, Wind Fury, 10-10 or 15-15. But since it doesn't have tribes, unlike Amalgadon, once you start building your comp and maybe going into a Menagerie or whatever, you might have to cut it in favor of better scaling. Instead of Amalgadon that will just sit on your comp for the whole game and just get bigger and bigger and bigger all the time. So overall, this card seems like a healthier version of Amalgadon in a way. But once again, the RNG factor in the late game, especially when played in a comp with only 1 or 2 tribes, is gonna be a bit annoying, for sure. And now, moving on, we have the final card reveal. This card got revealed by the Spanish community members Godor, Kuhn, and Harry Potter. So, here we go. We have Shell Collector, another 1-drop for Naga, 3/1 Battle Cry, add a gold coin to your hand. So this is basically like a Elemental. It's a token-ish type card, but it also triggers all the Naga synergies. There's not much to say. This card is solid. It's gonna be played as any other token in the game. And now we have a 4-drop Wave Rider, 2/8 stats, which is kind of odd, but I guess he's riding a seahorse, so it kind of makes sense. Spellcraft, give a minion +1/+1 and Wind Fury until your next turn. You may look at this card and be like, well, this thing is like a 3/9 with Wind Fury. It reminds me of Bonker. Bonker is not that good, and it has a better effect because it gives you permanent gems. This thing only gives you the effect for 1 turn, yada yada yada. But think about the fact that later on in the game, in the late game, you can just buy this kind of like a buff and give +1/+1 and Wind Fury to your cleave. How crazy is that? Now people will have Wind Fury cleaves out of nowhere. This seems pretty crazy. Like, I don't know. It's gonna be cool to see if people can actually build big cleaves. And I know some people might be a bit sick of cleaves, because during the buddy meta, it's really easy to get a big cleave, especially if you're playing heroes like Galliwix or Vol'jin, and just steamroll the lobby with them. But bear in mind that before Buddies came out, Cleave was by far the least used keyboard in the game because the cleaves are actually really hard to scale. So we'll see if with some new Naga synergy we will be able to make big cleaves and actually give them Wind Fury. It's gonna be really cool to see how this plays out. And now we have Corrupted Myrmidon, another 5-drop for Nagas. 2/2, start of combat, double this minion stats. Well, oof. On a competitive level, this card is not gonna see that much play, unless if some crazy new Naga synergies will come out, or if they get a card like Nadina. But I'm sure that a lot of people that like big stats are gonna try to buff this with some Menagerie synergies and whatnot. And then if you can make it like 20-20 or 30-30, it's gonna be a 40-40 or a 60-60 during the fight. Keep in mind, if you can triple this, the golden version triples the stats. So there you go. Go build your big boy. And now the end of the video. This is the last thing that got revealed by Godor and Carrie, and is that Captain Flattusk is gone. Which kind of makes sense because if you think about it, blood gems are spell, so the spells triggers the Naga, and then this and that, and you get too many spells. And now we have Dark Glaze Elder. 6 mana, 6/7. After you spend 4 gold, play a blood gem on 4 friendly Quillbors. 4 gold left. So basically, it's kind of the same requirement as Flattusk, but instead of getting the gem, you immediately cast the gem on 4 other Quillbors. Well, guess what? This ability is extremely good if you are playing a Quillbor comp. And Quillbors at the moment were like the least, like the worst performing class when it comes to pure Quillbors. Menagerie Quillbors was doing pretty good. So huge buff for pure Quillbors. Like, if you think about it, if you're playing a pure Quillbor comp, you're probably running cards like Shaker, like Tough Tusk, like Bristleback Brute, and most importantly, Dynamic Duo. So when you were running such a comp, you really wanted to triple into Charlie, so you could get 1 gem on everything. Now, if you triple into this, you get 2 to 3 gems on all of your pieces per turn. Like, that's 3 times as good as Charlie. The dynamic duos are gonna be huge. Like, it's gonna be crazy. This card is gonna be really strong in pure Quillbors. That being said though, if you triple into this early on, like let's say you power level to tier 5 to triple into a 6, this is gonna be a really bad hit. Because chances are you don't have any of the Quillbors I just mentioned on your board, because you're just power leveling rather than growing your comp step by step. So, like, if you back in the days tripled into a Flattusk, you could just pick it and then just start buffing some random minions, and then maybe you get an Agam and it will be good. Obviously, the Dark Glaze Elder is still really good even with Agam. Like, you can even play 2 Agams if you want at the same time. But like, it's hard to pick this and justify when you don't have any other Quillbors already on your board. But anyway, I don't want this video to drag for too long. So this is it. These are all the cards we know so far. But tomorrow we're gonna get some new ones. So I'm gonna make a new video to show you guys the new arrivals. And once everything is done, I will also make a video rating all the new Nagas cards and rate them all with stars, so you guys can know what's good and what's not once the patch drops. So stay tuned for more Naga content, and let me know down in the comments which is your favorite Naga. See you all in the next one. Bye bye!